Okay, so today we're doing a deep dive into some really fascinating source material. It describes this uh, pretty unique meditation
Yeah,
practice.
unique is definitely the word.
It's not about sitting still at all, is it?
Yeah.
It's all about optimizing movement itself.
Exactly. Our mission, really, is to decode what the source calls a sort of multi-layered spiritual technology built for action.
Custom built, it sounds like.
It truly is. This practice, it blends physical movement with, well, ancient oracle wisdom and some pretty specific ideas about genetic mapping.
Okay.
The full practice, it's known as Woo-Roo-Boo.
Woo-Roo-Boo. Worooboo. Okay, that's memorable. What's the story behind the names? Does it explain the function?
It kind of does, yeah. It immediately tells you when to do it.
Yeah.
It's designed for when you're actively moving, walking, running, hiking.
Biking, maybe.
Biking, exactly. The core concept is the Oracle organization. That's the OO.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you get Walking Oracle Organization, WOO.
Right.
Running Oracle Organization, ROO.
And Biking Oracle Organization, BOO.
You got it. It's basically an Oracle system that you integrate right into your kinetic return.
Wow. Okay, that structure helps ground it. Now, the source material seems to position WooRooBoo as the advanced level, built on a foundation called regulation meditation.
That's right. That's the bedrock.
Okay, so let's unpack that first.
Yeah.
Because, without regulating the system, this high-level oracle stuff probably doesn't land, right?
Precisely. It'd be useless, and this regulation concept, it's very structured. It tackles both the individual psychological stuff and the bigger collective picture.
Okay, let's start with the individual part then.
Yeah.
What they call horizontal regulation. That's the sort of psychological quick fix.
It is, yeah. Horizontal regulation is about moving energy or even just scanning visually from left to right, side to side.
And the thinking behind that is ancient survival.
Exactly. Comes from how early humans would scan the terrain when facing a threat, confront it. This side-to-side action, the claim is, it pulls you out of that knee-jerk fear response, the amygdala doing its thing.
Right. It forces you to be like front and center and functional, as the source puts it.
You're deliberately bringing your system back online when you feel triggered.
So you're repurposing an old instinct, a physical shift for psychological control.
Okay.
And then you layer in vertical regulation.
Vertical regulation, that's the collective piece.
Collective. How so?
It means moving energy sort of upwards from lower to higher, let's say, states of mind or ways of understanding.
Okay.
It involves moving through what they call mimetic codes. You can think of them as layers of civilizational thinking, the different operating systems society runs on.
Like spiral dynamics type ideas. If people know that framework.
Exactly like that.
Yeah.
So moving vertically through these codes is described as collective regulation, shifting your whole mindset, your understanding, to a higher one.
So horizontal regulation handles the immediate fight or flight. Vertical handles your place in the bigger evolutionary picture almost. That's a good way to put it.
And integrating that into just walking or running, that's pretty powerful.
And the physical action is the key. That's the activator.
How?
Well, the practice relies on your feet and hands, walking, running, biking. Your feet are moving, hands are probably swinging.
Right, that alternating movement.
Yes, that alternating kinetic movement is what triggers the regulation. It's the engine running that left to right energy shift, and it helps you shift through those mimetic codes too.
So the simple mechanics of movement unlock this deeper programming.
That's what the source suggests, yeah. It's the activation key.
Okay, that bridges it perfectly. Physical rhythm first. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, I think. The second layer, the oracle organization. This operates on the idea, and it's a big one, that our DNA structure mirrors the I Ching's hexagram sequence.
That's the structural basis, yes. A direct correlation claim between the DNA sequence and the 64 hexagrams of the I Ching. Okay, we have to pause there. That's a foundational claim the source is making. Thousands of years old I Ching maps onto human genetics. Wow.
It is an extraordinary claim, yes.
So assuming we run with that correlation for this practice, does it use the traditional I Ching sequence, 1 through 64?
It does not, and that's absolutely vital. The correlation uses a non-traditional numbering, a different sequence. You sometimes see similar mappings in, human design circles.
Okay, so not hexagram 1, 2, 3?
No. It starts, for instance, with 25, then it goes to 17, then 21, then 51, and so on.
A very specific order, suggesting a specific energetic flow or map, maybe?
That seems to be the implication.
So how does that sequence show up physically? in the person doing the practice?
Well, that sequence of 64 hexagrams is mapped onto 64 specific acupuncture points in the body.
Okay.
So if you choose a specific hexagram for your practice, maybe you throw the coins, maybe it's intuition.
Right.
That hexagram lines up with a specific physical spot. The source example is hexagram 14, Great Possession. It correlates to the right knee.
Okay, so we have the regulation foundation, the physical location and acupuncture point like the right knee, and the energy pattern from this specific hexagram sequence. Now, how do you actually integrate the hexagram while you're moving?
You use a visualization, a quite complex one actually. They call it a visual mantra or yantra.
Okay.
You take the hexagram, the pattern of 6 solid and broken lines, and you mentally superimpose it onto a 6-pointed star.
A 6-pointed star. Visualize at the acupuncture point. So on the right knee in that example.
Exactly. You run that star pattern visually right there.
Whoa, okay. That sounds incredibly difficult to maintain while also doing the side-to-side energy regulation and walking or running.
It does sound like a lot, I know.
Like, is focusing on the geometry going to just break the regulation part?
Well, here's the critical point. The instruction isn't necessarily about holding a perfect geometric image the whole time.
Oh.
The focus shifts back to the alternating movement. The 6 sides of the star get linked to your feet and hands.
So the stepping itself drives the pattern.
Yes. You use the alternating right-left movement of your steps or maybe your hand swings to cycle through the 6 lines of the hexagram, represented by the star's sides.
So it's less about seeing the perfect star and more about consciously feeling the alternating rhythm embody the hexagram's pattern, line by line.
Exactly. That makes it much more manageable. Your steps become the rhythm that cycles you through the pattern.
Okay, that makes more sense.
And all the while, the central anchor point isn't only the knee.
Yeah.
It's also anchored in the dantian, that energy center below the navel.
Right.
And in the concept of the infinite spine.
Infinite spine. Okay, the visualization deepens again. What about the star and the spine?
You visualize the 6-pointed star pattern as hooping around this infinite spine.
Hooping?
Yeah, the source actually mentions it mirrors an American Indian principle of hooping the tree.
Interesting. So it's 3-dimensional.
The 6 lines, or sides, of the star correspond to positions around the spine behind you, left side, right side, and front.
So you've got the geometry at the knee being cycled by your feet and hands and visualized hooping around your energy spine all at once.
That's the integration, yeah. Knee, feet, hands, dantian, spine, layered.
That is definitely a masterclass in multitasking. I could just picture myself trying to run that star visualization on my knee while biking. I'd probably need the healing mantra just to recover from the crash.
It definitely requires focused practice, but that layering, that integration is supposedly what creates the energetic shift.
Okay, so once you've integrated all that, visualization, movement, what then? Is there a concluding step?
There is. It involves sound.
Sound. How does that work?
Well, once the energy feels like it's cycled and integrated, you bring it back to the specific point, like the right knee, and you anchor it there with a specific Sanskrit mantra for healing.
Which is?
Mahamrityunjaya.
Mahamrityunjaya. Okay, so you anchor the energy with sound.
Right. Grounding the work in the physical spot.
And then there's one final step mentioned, right? Something about external application. Sounds almost holographic.
It is. It's about externalizing the regulated state you've cultivated.
How do you do that?
You take the integrated energy pattern, the star hooping the spine anchored at the knee, and you sort of project it, superimpose it onto the external world.
Like onto what?
The example given is using the straight edge of a door. You treat the door edge as an external spine.
Seriously?
Yeah. You visualize hooping that 6-pointed star around the door's edge while still feeling anchored internally in your knee, your dantian, your own infinite spine.
Wow. So you're connecting your internal state to an external object, potentially changing how you perceive the world around you.
That seems to be the idea, bridging the personal psyche and the environment.
Truly fascinating. Okay, practically speaking then.
Yeah.
If someone's doing this, how do they pick which hexagram to use for their walk or run?
Well, there are a few options mentioned in the source.
Like?
One is just intuition. You pick a hexagram that feels right for that day. Or you could use the traditional method, actually throwing the I Ching, the coins or yarrow stalks. And then for a more dynamic practice, especially if you're more experienced, you could actually move sequentially through the hexagrams during the walk. Start with 25 at its point, then shift focus to 17 at its correlated point, then 21.
Working through the specific sequence across different acupuncture points dynamically.
Exactly, for a full energetic journey, potentially.
Now, the proof, as they say, is in the pudding, or in this case, the regulation. The source material gives a really good example of the behavioral shift this can bring, right?
Yes, a very relatable one, actually. The speaker shared how it significantly helped him become more regulated in his relationship.
Whoa.
He described this long-standing pattern with his wife. She'd express unhappiness, he'd perceive it as criticism, feel blamed, and then just shut down, withdraw.
Yeah, that sounds familiar for a lot of people, I bet.
Very common dynamic. But the practical benefit he reported from doing this regulation practice, he could break that kinetic trigger, that automatic reaction.
So instead of feeling criticized and shutting down,
he could pause. He could actually bypass that amygdala hijack, that immediate defensive reaction. And instead, he could offer assurance.
like what?
Like, a hug or holding her hand or just saying something reassuring. He shifted from being reactive and contracted to being regulated, functional, supportive.
That's the real world change right there. That's the application.
Exactly. That psychological work showing up right when it matters.
So what does this all mean then when we put it together?
Well, it means we're looking at a practice that claims to synthesize ancient wisdom with our own movement, structured around, well, what the source claims is our genetic blueprint.
Yeah, it's combining that psychological regulation driven by simple movement, mapping it onto an ancient oracle, the I Ching, but in a specific sequence, and then physically linking that whole system to our genetic coding via these 64 acupuncture points. It's quite a synthesis.
It really is. And the profound implication underneath it all is the suggestion from the source that the I Ching, this system used for millennia, might have been intuitively tapping into a fundamental pattern, a pattern that's integral to how we're wired genetically.
Wow. Like the structure of the cosmos or consciousness is somehow written into our DNA and activated by just walking or running with intention.
That's the stunning idea presented, yeah. The simple act of alternating movement, unlocking something deep.
It is a stunning thought to consider.
Yeah.
Really makes you think about the potential power locked in, combining simple physical action like a 20-minute walk with this kind of complex visualization and ancient sequencing. What other innate patterns might manifest in our movement, in our thoughts, that we just don't notice? It leaves you wondering, perhaps for you listening, next time you feel that trial rising up, that reactive emotion, instead of getting swept away, maybe just try that simple horizontal regulation, that feeling of moving energy side to side, anchor it in your dantian.
Yeah.
Just see what shifts, see what happens in your own emotional landscape.